We knew that this spill caused such a wide range of economic damage, and it wasn't just the businesses on the beach that were impacted, because those businesses have employees, and then those employees are making less money, and they're spending less money in places where they go around their homes, further away from the coast, and there was just this domino effect throughout the state. And so instead of arguing over whether or not somebody was actually caused by the spill, we came up with a formula. And so the formula, and it's agreed to by BP. It's been preliminarily approved by the court, hopefully finally approved by the court here soon. But everybody agrees that if you meet those tests under the formula, your losses were caused by the spill. And for Zone D, what that is you have to show that I don't want to get too detailed on it, but you basically have to show in just using gross revenue, looking at any 3 consecutive months between May through December of 2010, you have to show that you were down 15% compared to either 2009, an average of 2008 and 9, or an average of 2007, 2008, and 2009, and that you came back up 10% in those same 3 months in 2011. And if you meet that basic gross revenue test, you qualify for compensation.
So let me interrupt you a second. Let's just take an example that seems that it may be instructive here. If you are let's say a landscape company in Birmingham, Alabama, your work is within the confines of the city of Birmingham. You do nothing on the coast. You do nothing for anybody who has any interests on the coast, and your business happened to be down just the way you described with your example of the economic test for Zone D. Are you in? Are you out? What is your status?
You're in if you meet the test. And one of the ways and things I stress when I talk to people about this is don't just look at how you did overall in 2010. That can be very deceptive as far as whether or not you qualify. Because I've seen examples of businesses that were actually up overall in 2010 because they had a very good front half of the year, or they had a very good December, something that caused them to be really high up in 2010. But when you break it down on a month-by-month basis, there are 3 months where they were down 15% compared to those other years, and they came back up in 2011. So it's very important that you break it down by month and don't just ask was I up, was I down in 2010? That's the wrong question to be asking.
And I guess that's one reason why it's not as simple as just an individual or business owner just looking at your own records and trying to figure this out. You really need it looked at by somebody that knows the settlement methodology and how to break down the analysis. Would that be correct?
If you want to know whether or not you qualify prior to filing a claim, then that's absolutely correct. Okay. And that's, I would urge everybody to have somebody look at it, because what's being offered here is a chance for particularly the state of Alabama to get a significant influx of recovery from BP. There's been a lot of things that have been going on in the Gulf economy for a long period of years. The state of Alabama, the state of Florida were hit particularly hard with the housing market. So there's a lot going on, and this is a chance for a lot of businesses to, if they just take some action, to get a significant economic recovery from BP, which would be a significant influx of money into these Gulf economies, which is something the state of Alabama could use desperately right now.
And as you said before, this is a negotiated settlement. These formulas are negotiated. The economic tests have been negotiated. BP knows about them. They approve of them. The court knows about them. As Brian said, the court has already granted preliminary approval, and hopefully there will be a final approval coming soon. So I think it's important for everybody watching to realize that this is not some sort of secretive thing. Everybody who has been involved in this settlement process knows about these tests, has specifically agreed to the test. So if you live or work in Alabama, north of Interstate 10, you are in Zone D, and if you can meet that economic test, then you can prove causation relative to this settlement, and then go to the next step, which is the calculation of damages. If you meet the causation test that Brian has enunciated for Zone D, then it doesn't matter whether you can say for sure or whether you believe for sure that all of your losses were related to the spill and not the economy. Under the negotiated provisions of the spill, you are in as far as causation. And if you can calculate a loss for 2010 under the settlement methodology, you can be paid compensation for your losses under this settlement. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say, and it's all types of businesses. It's landscapers, construction companies. We've seen farmers. I mean, all types of businesses. It's fairly, there is a small set of businesses that have been excluded, but that is the vast minority. The reality is a substantial majority of the businesses are all included in this settlement. This is their right to recovery. And if BP, if the court grants final approval, BP is going to get a release for all of these businesses. So what I tell people is, don't let them get that release from you for free. Make them buy it.